Good to see everybody. You guys don't get a day off, huh?
Never a day off. Like David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Just with the illness, where do you stand on the illness? Will it knock some guys out? And is it a flu, cold, some COVID? Is it a combination?
Well, I think it's more the virus that's going around. So I think just like anything, I mean, every day, it seems like, brings another, staff member or someone. So we'll practice today, and we're going to have a full practice. So we'll just continue to work, and hopefully we'll have it resolved by tomorrow.
Anybody else been added to the list?
No, I wouldn't say anybody's been added. We've got some guys that are a little under the weather.
What's been the mindset of the team short week, after big win? Have you gauged where they are mentally?
I would say you really don't have any time to even enjoy the win. So I think it's a normal Thursday game. I mean, we've got another one, on the Christmas holiday too. So I mean, this is a challenge every year. Obviously there's some familiarity with it. Being at home obviously helps. But to be honest, we just been really dialed into the schedule because it's a busted up schedule. Like today we did the short yards goal line 2 minute, which you normally do that on Friday. So we're just making sure we got everything in order, and we're having a good walkthrough. It's just being completed right now, and we'll have a good practice here. So.
Michael Delkin, Dallas Morning News. Are there any coaches on staff who won't be at practice on account of illness?
No, I think we'll be okay.
Todd Archer.
That's an unusual question. Shocker from you, Michael. Yeah. I'll have to check my proposed 48 list. I usually talk about the players. I didn't.
Do you know yet when you're going to start practice windows for Tyron or James Washington coming off this?
I do not. I'll be honest with you. We're so dialed into just getting ready and competing and winning this game. So I think that's probably a better question for Monday next week.
Anyone else? No?
Scott's in a hurry.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Does Tyler Smith's play style remind you of anyone in your past or just around the league?
Play style?
Yeah, just his physicality, motor.
Yeah, I mean, he reminds me of a lot of excellent players. But I'm just trying to think from the left tackle position. I mean, the most powerful left tackle that I had the opportunity to work with was Willie Rolfe. Willie was just a different dimension because he could pass block pretty much with anybody, but he just played with tremendous power in the run game. So obviously Tyler's young, so that's not a fair comparison that compare him to a Hall of Famer right now. But he definitely has that alpha mentality.
What part of his game have you seen take the most strides since the start of the year?
Oh, I just think the biggest thing is consistency. I mean, we talked about it in week one when he was starting against Tampa. He just needs to play. It's getting his footwork and his hands, coordinated and playing with technique. He's always, mentally, I never worried about him mentally and emotionally because, he's very, very mature for where he is, in the process. He just needs reps, and I think you're seeing that. He's made a really nice improvement, as far as his timeline and all the things that he had. Because just go back, he was working exclusively at left guard, before Tyron's injury. So I think he's done an excellent job.
Piggybacking on that, Jerry Jones intimated yesterday that
why are you laughing?
He intimated that Tyron was started left tackle and Tyler will go back to guard when Tyron comes back. Are you giving Tyler more guard reps in practice now?
We've been working, just different combinations because I think the other thing too is, who's the third center. If you look at just the way we've been going with our 8th offensive lineman. So there's a couple rotation components going on, just to make sure we're maxing that out because our 8th offensive lineman has consistently come off of the practice squad.
What does that say about Tyler, though? I know in the past we've talked about not keeping a guy in one position, and the fact that you
Oh, yeah.
He can play at two positions as a rookie, and
I mean, it just shows you the confidence we have in him. So, a big part of that, transition is communication. So, he's picked it up very quickly. But just like the footwork and technique, he just needs reps in the area of communication. So, that's why we practice as much as we do. He's done an excellent job.
Onto the right tackle now with Terrence Steele. Where the confidence that, okay, he's the guy that you could trust him right from the beginning?
Well, I think he showed the promise in his rookie season. I mean, he just, if you go back, I mean, that was the pandemic year, so you really didn't have the time. And, then you go from 2020 into the 2021 offseason, he just made such a huge jump through the offseason program. Obviously played a bunch, and then ironically made a similar jump going from 2021 to 2022. So I think that just speaks volumes of who he is and how he goes about it. So his consistency and his connection with Zach. I mean you could tell Zach was very, very comfortable with him right away. So, but and I think I think T has a lot more in front of him too. So I mean I just so impressed with the progress he's made during each offseason, and it just brings such a consistency to work every single day.
Is the difference and distinction between left tackle, right tackle the same as it was when you were coaching Willie Rosen?
Depends on how you play. I mean, I think if you really want to tilt the field, based on your quarterback and the other components of your team, you definitely would like to have two legitimate pass blocking tackles. But I definitely feel strongly, and it's part of how we're built, is there's points in every single football game that I believe in, and everyone that I've ever called, where you got to line up and go smack the ball. I mean, you got to run the ball, and everybody in the stadium knows you're running the ball. So you got to have that as part of your makeup, because if you don't, there's definitely you're going to get in the most important part of the game where you need to run the ball and you can't get it done. So in that right side, that power right side, athletic left side, ever how you look at that, there's still definitely a place for that in design of how you build your offensive line.
Mike Torrey of Yahoo Sports. Dak mentioned some of the ways that Jaron Curse is motivating the team recently. It seems like a lot of guys have mentioned what he says. How did he come in here and sort of establish himself as a voice in the locker room?
I think really Jaron came in and took advantage of his opportunity, and it just springboarded from there. I think we're really big into creating leadership opportunities, and I go back to last year when the leadership council wanted to appoint him as part of the council, because it felt like he had established himself in the locker room last year. Obviously established himself on the playing field as one of our top players, and I just think you've seen it go to a different level this year. So he had to call up before the game in Minnesota, and that game was very personal for him too. So I think he struck a nerve with everybody. It was excellent. So and that's really the design of why we give one of the game captains that opportunity, because it's a leadership opportunity, leadership development opportunity, and I thought he nailed it.
More of a personnel question, but now that we're on the other side of the trade deadline and all vested veterans are subject to waivers too, does that complicate some of the decisions that you guys have to make when it comes to getting the right 48 on Sundays?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously part of the conversation. But, I just think like anything, I mean, we're, from day one, as I've stood up here and answered questions about personnel, we really felt strongly about our 90-man roster, and obviously was definitely tilted to the defensive side of the ball. And now you're getting to the point where, you got guys on IR that are getting healthy, and, that may have an opportunity to return. So, that's part of the chess match. And I think clearly you want to be in a position of having too many players and not enough. So that's definitely part of our challenge.
Brad Sham, Cowboys Radio. Mike, how are the Giants different from the team you prepared for in Week 3?
Schematically or just not?
I mean, the way they're playing. Obviously, you both got some
I
personnel.
think the consistency that they've shown is their ability to play to their blueprint. I mean, I think they've done a really good job of, controlling the time of possession, keeping games close. They've been winning games, down the stretch. So, with that, every time you win one of those games, your confidence builds. So I think that part's similar, but I think they're just like all of us. You got different things going on in your lineup, and, we're both challenged because of the time of year with the, with the illnesses that are going around. So, I mean, you're going to have some of that, but, I think how they want to play and what they're trying to do is been very consistent all year.
Mike Baden, Laufenberg, Cowboys Radio. A little bit follow-up on Jody with J-Ron. 20 was obviously the pandemic, crazy year. But the guys that you brought in that year almost seemed like none of those veteran guys worked out. And now in comes J-Ron Purse in the league. It just seems like a total transformation from what happened in 20 to 21. So organizationally, was there a different mindset, or did you sit down and say, why did we not hit on these guys this year? What are we looking for in the future?
I don't really put a whole lot, and I think I clearly agree with your point. Is that first year, man, there were so many moving parts, and and just we really didn't have any time together. I'm talking about coaching staff, personnel staff, obviously leadership. So, but yeah, to have the opportunity to go through what we went through. Then we obviously had a transition out of that, and and the ability to flip that defense, as far as the profiles and just the direction, that I wanted to go upon my, being hired here, to get that done in 1 year, I think it has been very impressive. And you can start with the veteran, acquisitions, that whole group, and then obviously I think we had signed 6 veterans and drafted 6 rookies. So that was a tremendous. And obviously Dan Quinn, Joe Witt. So we had some staff changes. So all those factors played a huge part in us able to flip that side of the ball. And now as we stand here today, we're a heavy defensive personnel unit, which is outstanding because like I've said here before, I think to win a championship, defense wins championships, but the quarterback wins the Super Bowl. And Christ, I can't believe I just said that. I'm not supposed to. So. Hey, cut that. No. Yeah, back in training camp, I know that. No, I just I'm focused on the Giants. Yeah. And so that's my job. So you can cut that from this. Delete or whatever how that works.
Jerry's influence got you.
We'll finish up with Calvin.
All right, we're good. Happy Thanksgiving. Good. All right. Good.